This is Ann at Yarn Folk, and I am working on my Stripes of Joy sweater by Tiff Nealon. This pattern calls for worsted weight wool in 5 colors, and it employs wide dramatic stripes alternated with narrow stripes of a background color. One of the things about working stripes is that you generally have a small jog, a little break in the stripe when you change colors. So this is something that happens. There are a variety of methods to correct for it. In my opinion, none of them is 100% perfect, but some of them are pretty good. And I am reasonably happy with what I'm doing currently, so I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of how I'm weaving in the ends, because that's, I think, what is giving me something that's pretty close to a result that I'm happy with. So I'm going to flip around the sweater. This is the front of the sweater, and the color changes actually happen along the center back. So let's just flip this around here. So you can see here, if we follow right down here, we've just got a tiny bit of a jog. But when we hold up the sweater, when we've got a person moving around like people normally do, it's not something that's going to be incredibly noticeable. And this also hasn't been blocked. So what I'm going to demonstrate is what I'm doing when I'm weaving in the ends. So I'm not going to do this most recent one yet, but right here I have the last time I finished with the wide stripe and changed to the narrow background stripe. What I have been doing is tying half of a square knot. So we don't generally like knots in our knitting. This is not a full knot, but this is just a way of adjusting the tension in a way that doesn't really lead to a lot of motion after the fact. So here we are. That's where I've just worked that half of a square knot. Then what I'm going to do with the ends is what I generally do, which is work duplicate stitch on the reverse side to secure. So I'm going into a purl bump and into the purl bump of the new color above. I just dropped my needle off the yarn. Okay. Then I'm coming back through new color purl bump and back through the purl bump that I initially went up. So basically I'm just tracing the snaky little path of the yarn as I go, and I'm just going to do this for an inch and a half or so. And working from the back, I have a little bit of control as to where this extra yarn is going to sit. So if we look here, as I'm pulling this loop tight, what I'm wanting is I want it to sit right underneath the actual stitch that is on the front side of the work. So if you can see here, this is just sitting right below the real stitch. And I'm just doing that as I go along. So basically what that means is that the duplicate stitch is worked just slightly tighter than the main knitting, but because I'm just sort of layering it onto the back, it's not affecting the tension in the front at all. We'll call it good on that side. Then I'm going to switch to the new color and do essentially the same thing. So here is where I joined. I'm going to just give that a little tug to snug it up. And then I'm going to follow the new color in the same way that I followed the old color. So up through the old color purl bump, up through the new color purl bump, and back down. I'll do a few more stitches afterward, but there's what the back of it looks like. As you can see, I just trimmed to, a quarter inch or so. This is a non-superwash wool, so these edges are just going to kind of fray out and stay put. If they were to pop through to the other side, I've got enough woven in that I can just pull them back to the back. And you can see on the other side, there's no tightness from doing any of that. The fabric still has its normal amount of stretch. So again, not 100% perfect, but pretty good. I like it. Thanks for watching.